we will open then the Q&A. We have a lot of questions flowing in. One thing that I wanted to see. So basically, the order is the one that I'm going to follow the order of the people that placed those questions. Some of them are not identified. Okay, if you don't want to identify yourself, but if you do, please let us know in the chat. Okay. So the first question from Eric Villen: what type of reference data, in situ data, are you using for the forest mapping and forest density? Paolo, do you want to take this? I can take it also. What type of reference data, in situ data, are you using for the forest mapping and the forest density?
Sorry, I don't know, where is the question? I cannot see it.
So if you go to the bottom part of the menu, you have a Q&A option.
Okay.
And then the first question that appears is from Eric Villen on what type of reference data, in situ data, are you using for forest mapping and forest classification and forest density? Sorry. So there was, I can give a bit of context. There was the training and the evolution of these services. So it already had a legacy from previous projects, but then it was evolved with the alpha and beta users. So there was a process led by Vito of co-design with those alpha and beta users, and typically, when required, those users provided us with the necessary training data to do so. I don't know if you want to add anything else, Paolo?
No, nothing else.
So yeah, so typically it was user data that flowed in, and this is where, for instance, the customization option comes into play. So if you require customization for an area of interest or a time of interest that's not currently covered by a particular service, feel free to contact us. We'll give you a quote. Actually, there's something, maybe, Sebastian, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if there's any chance, I can, if you have it at hand for a slide with the pricing list of the services, this would be useful.
I was not prepared to it, but if
I'm sorry, I didn't want to put you on the spot because if you do,
I just try to look it up as quickly as I can.
I'll keep on. We'll keep on going through the questions whenever you are ready. Feel free. Okay. Sorry to put you on the spot there.
Just 1 minute.
So yeah. So typically it's user data. So if you want a customization, we have specific price codes for customization. It's not a closed quote because it really depends on the quality of the training data, for instance. But we do have like a price range for customization. So this is where really that customization option comes into play. Then we have a second part. I hope that, Eric, that answers your question. We have a second question coming from an anonymous entity where what would a pan-European EU-wide tree health map cost, or would it be possible to share some information on the cost of EU-wide mapping? So this is for the tree health product and the price for EU coverage. That's a good question. So it also can be, so once Sebastian shares the pricing list that we have for different services, you can see that we have a price. The pricing model is per hectare per year. So whenever you're acquiring a service, you'll have the price that you're going to get is per hectare, covering a full year of data at least. So you'll be paying a full year of data. This is the current price model for NextLand. I don't have it in the top of my head. How much it will cost to have a EU? Yeah, go ahead, Sebastian.
So I have it ready here. Should I just go ahead and share the screen?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, let me just see. Please tell me if you can see. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so this is the pricing table split amongst the different areas of applications. At the top, you have the agriculture services. At the bottom, you have the forestry services, which I believe are more of your interest based on this specialist session. And then in the middle, we have the services that are yeah, applicable to both industries. And in the right column, you can see the subscription price per hectare per year. So again, just like Nuno said, this is not written in stone. It's just an orientation of what to expect. In some cases, it may also be cheaper, because at the end, it's up to the individual service providers that offer these services. But I think it's a good indication of what to expect, what kind of range to expect for these services. So feel free to take a screenshot of this. This is public information. Yeah, and I hope that that answers the question for now.
Yeah, indeed, and take into account that we are considering, for instance, volume discounts. At some point, this will be introduced. This is the pricing will evolve with time. But to do the math on how much will it cost for a EU-wide tree health map, please feel free to take that as a reference and then do the math on the area for the EU. Okay. I hope that also covers that question. There's another question by Eric.
I was going to mention that there are a few questions regarding the area of application of the services, and this can be an opportunity to bring that point up, because not all services not all cost the same, not all cover the same areas, and not all can be customized in the same way. So there will be services that can automatically be applied to any region in Europe, but some others will only be out the box prepared for a specific area. So in the case of one specific service being necessary or interesting to apply to the whole continent, I think that the best way to do is just to get in touch and allow us to analyze what the needs are and what the impact can be.
Indeed, thanks very much, David. It's a very specific request, and it needs a deep analysis to be able to understand what pricing model and what needs to be done in that case. Okay, any information about the accuracy of the products for the tree species and density? Again, this goes a bit towards Paolo. What I can say on our side, if you remember the presentation from maybe I can David, any chance you can share the screen with the online store already signed in, just because you have already signed in, and show that there's a documentation link in a service. So yeah.
Give me one sec. Share screen. Share screen one. Okay. So yeah, anyone in particular? Do you want me to?
Any would do, because I think they all of them should have this documentation link.
Okay.
Yeah. So
as you see, this one is prepared for the whole of Europe. And
indeed.
then you have the documentation link here.
Yeah. And if you open that documentation link, it goes to a PDF that gives you an overview of the service, and it sets some technical specifications, including accuracy information. So you'll find that information once you log in each one of the services. Okay. In the ones that do apply, because some of them this accuracy measure might not apply. Okay. But you can see, for instance, I don't know, with the tree species and density, we'll have to check. But you can browse, you can register, and feel free to browse to the different services to get an overview of the accuracy for the different for those services. I don't know, Paulo, do you want to complement with anything else? Thanks, David.
No.
Okay, thanks. Okay, then we'll move forward. We have several questions, and so we're already a bit over the time limit for the webinar. Hopefully you can stay with us a bit more and we go over these questions. So please explain the forest regeneration monitoring service. Operational demand is to get reliable feedback within 3 years after plantation. So basically, it's again a question by Eric, who was telling us that typically the demands for operational activities is to get reliable feedback within 3 years after plantation on the forest regeneration monitoring. And I think basically Eric is trying to understand a bit more about this product and if it's able to comply with those demands.
Well, maybe I can answer because we presented that for that kind of services, we can offer a monitoring with a high frequency, but this is just because it depends of the image of the Sentinel-2 when are available. Well, what I mean is that maybe it's not necessary to do this. It's only it is possible, you know. It doesn't have to have a physical sense in this sense. I mean, this is a combination. We offer a combination of density forestry and of forest changement. Of course, the changement of a forest could be slow, but for example, if there is an event that change fast this the physiognomy of the forest, or like, I don't know, a barn or a deforestation, you can take advantage from our services to monitor also these events, you know. So of course, if you have to just to monitor the normal growth of a forest, you don't need this frequency.
Thanks, Paulo. Thanks a lot for that explanation. Going through the different questions. So are there any constraints for applying NextLand forest services to forest areas beyond the areas that are already implemented and tested? So this falls within the customization option that we discussed. The main constraint typically to apply those areas is to have either training or validation data that we can use to develop to extend those services to areas that are not currently covered. Of course, that capability is highly dependent on the quality of that training or validation data. If it's good quality data, then we'll be able to do it in a much quicker and reliable way. If not, we'll have a problem. Again, there are different degrees of customization. So it can be that you already have the data and just need to take that data and apply it to the current service. It can be that you don't have the data and you can rely on the service provider to get that training data for you. That can also be an option. Huh? So it's then upon you to get in touch with NextLand, and we can arrange with the service provider what are the capabilities that we have to go to meet your requirements. Huh? So if you have a doubt, the best way is to contact us and understand where we can go, what we can do. I'll pass it over to the next one. So the next one is from Christos Kalajopoulos. I'm sorry, Christos, if I mispronounced it. I most certainly will. Will there be any support for user interactions? So lessons learned, best experience, and so on. This, I think, David?
Yeah, I was going to mention that we are in a constant process of improvement, and we are open to any customer feedback. And for that, you can always get in touch with us through the contact us form. It's going to become more sophisticated. So you probably will understand that we are going to implement more automated ways of working. We are going to validate everything that's going on, so that, for example, like I said before, in the short term. Let me frame this within a wider context of improvements, please. So what I was saying is, very shortly, the quotation is going to be automatic rather than manually verified. Once we make sure that everything is working properly, the payment is going to be automatized as well. We are little by little rolling out different bundles. And one of the things that we are very keen on is improving the customer experience, getting feedback, and making things as easy as possible. And one of the things that we are very interested in is making available documentation, what we will call, or we have plans of calling the NextLand University, with the technical papers, with the online activities that you can do to learn to use the environment. So those are things that absolutely are in the pipeline or in the roadmap for the future. Yeah. In the meantime, it will need to be on a one-on-one basis through contact through online form. But I will get the emails personally, so you can.
So feel free to flood David's inbox.
By all means, yeah. So that when I place an order, I don't get an email like today.
So another question is, what is the geographical applicability of the services? This is not clear yet from the presentations. David, maybe you can share again the screen and show what the area of interest that you were showing. I'm sorry to ask you again, but you were the ones that had the user login. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. I was asking you what is it exactly that you need me to show? Hi, can you hear me?
Sorry, then I was muted, the one muted. So I was saying that in the online store interface, if you could show where the users can understand where the area of interest is for each service, because that's
well, yeah.
Question.
I mean, yeah. Every time you go to the details of one specific service, you see a shaded area. So in this case, it's the whole world that is shaded. So you don't see the difference. But for example, let me see, which one did I use before? The first classification, right?
Yes.
How is it possible that it doesn't show? Forest.
It's probably in the second page.
Yeah. Sorry about that. This is the one. Well, forget about Romania for a second. Finland in this case. So yeah, you see the difference between the available area and applicable area out. It's different to refer to applicable area and applicable area out the box. So straight out the box, only this area will be trained beforehand. For any other, some additional effort must be made. This is what you want to see, Nuno?
Exactly. Thank you very much, David. Okay. So then we have another question from an anonymous attendee for thanking us for the presentation. To all of you, thank you very much. Could you explain a bit how this fire monitoring service bring value added compared to the EFIS products? What are the differences between the NextLand and the EFIS? So EFIS is the European Forest Fire Information System. Maybe Paolo, you want to go over this?
Sorry, the question is the question about the fire.
Yeah, the fire product.
EFIS, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, because I know just a part of EFIS. I didn't know all the services offered by EFIS. But what I know about EFIS is that they offer images based on MODIS and Sentinel-3. So the biggest difference is the scale of application. I mean, the EFIS is based on the European scale or also on national scale. For example, you can have an image of the totally Spain or Italy, or well, in any case, a large areas. Instead, with our products, you can have a better resolution because we use the Sentinel-2 data, and soon we will improve also with the planet scope data that are very with a resolution of 2 meters. So, but this is not yet available. Well, in any case, talking only about what is available now, we have our data are with the 10 meters of accuracy of resolution and soil, and so this is the biggest difference. And then EFIS is the aim of EFIS is more to offer a service with the active fire in these moments. Instead, our service is more for the estimation of the damage. or to the individuation of risk area. So it's before the fire or after the fire, not exactly in the time of the fire.
Thanks, Paulo. Thanks for that very clear overview of how it compares to the FS products. Another question, you mentioned that new services will be made available through the online store. Price models needs to be clarified. What are generally the price models for NextLand services? David?
There's not much to explain. That information, as Sebastian mentioned, is publicly available. Each service provider decides what the cost of the service is. So there's no rule of thumb to say what the overall cost of one specific service is.
Yeah, so the only common thread in the pricing model of NextLand is that all services are based on area, so hectare, and then they are valid for 1 year of data. So any request that you do up to 1 year will have that. So if you go to this, if you ask more than 1 year of data, you already be charged for a second year. So this is the pricing model that's common for all the different services. Okay. Again, if you have any question, feel free to contact David. Could a business model be that the service reseller or local seller would provide the localization of the service development by providing ground data, for example, and localization of service delivery? Seeing may I demo our NextLand service integrate the portal through which Forest Design sells the service? Let me see if I can if you understand a bit the question, let me see if could a business model be that the service reseller or local seller would provide localization of service development? Yes, okay, understood. So partnerships with local resellers where they provide the local data for developing this service, and then they are one of the resellers of and they take part of this revenue share model that could be an option. I don't know if anyone would like to take that. So that is foreseen, but this is so this is not something that you can do automatically, or you can. So you need to contact, of course, the VID and provide more information on what you can provide, what you can give to the service, and of course, those type of partnerships can be arranged for sure. And then finally, we have the final question: how much do you rely on ground truth data in the development of your data models? A lot. So I don't know if any of the service provider or Paolo or do you want to elaborate on that? But
well, this really depends on the service, because each service has had a different data set. We don't have the same data set in the same area of study for all the services that we offer. So maybe what we can do is to provide a table for each service, because now by memory I cannot remember all the accuracy for each service really. Well, what is sure that for example, for the forest classification, we had 3 areas that are the areas that are now available on the platform, the area of Romania, of Finland, and Portugal. And well, we collaborated with the local agency or local association that work in forestry. And well, I don't remember exactly what was the correspondence with the in situ data, but the accuracy was very good for this classification. No, maybe you know more detail about that. I don't remember in this moment.
I don't remember either, but it was in between 80 and 90%.
80-90%. Okay. I also remember something similar, but I didn't want to say something wrong.
No, it's from the top of my head that this was the case. It really depends on the quality of the training data that we have. In this case, we had excellent training data, so we were able to develop a bit more and to get really good results. We did have other cases where the training data was not so good, and that reflected, of course, in the quality of the service. Anyway, you'll be informed via the data sheets that you'll have for the different services of the accuracy corresponding to the service that you are accessing. Okay. Thanks, Paulo. That reaches the end of the Q&A. We already 18 minutes over the time limit for this webinar. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you for the very interesting questions that you posed. I hope that you maintain the contact with the NextLand online store. You'll be able to access not only the contact forms that he explained, but also the different service providers within NextLand that you will interact with to get answers for you if required. So I hope this is the beginning of a long relationship with NextLand, and we hope that we can support you on your work and activities. Okay, thank you very much. Bye. And sorry, there was a last one, which basically is we have the agriculture webinar coming up. Let me share the screen really quickly. So on the 29th of September, same hour. So it's every Tuesday. So this one will be the last webinar for the public release of the online store. We'll have a similar session, but for agriculture. Please do register on that. This is the overall program. And then you'll you can discover more on all about the next online store on the URL that David shared with you. You can follow us on social media. If you do, you'll get updates on all these different events that we are organizing, including the webinar next week. Or you can subscribe also to our newsletter to stay informed. Okay. And now I think I would like to thank you, and we'll see you on the next webinar. Bye-bye now. Cheers.